Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So now that the dust has settled a little bit with all of the coaching news, the Senior Bowl news, all that good stuff, I wanted to take a second to go back and look at Zach Wilson's rookie season and give my grade on it. So when we take a look at his numbers this season, he played in 13 games, he was 3-10 as a starting quarterback, 9 touchdowns to 11 picks, a completion percentage of 55.6%, and he threw for 2,334 passing yards. Not good. Not good. When we look at those numbers on paper, on the screen, that does not scream elite season. It does not scream top 10, top 15 quarterback. If we compare those numbers to all 31 quarterbacks in the NFL, those are definitely ranked towards the bottom of the list. Okay, but I think if we dig a little deeper, it's not as bad as it looks. Now, when we look back to the schedule, in the first 5 weeks of the NFL season, it was a little bit of a messy whirlwind. I felt like he looked really good in the Tennessee Titans game. He did, he showed a lot in that matchup, just with the shots down the field, really carrying the Jets offense. I felt like he persevered a lot. And hey, the Tennessee Titans are the #1 seed. By the way, that was the Titans team that had Derrick Henry as well. Let's not just ignore that fact. But in that Titans game, man, Zach Wilson looked really, really good. Really the only other time in the first 5 weeks of the season that I felt like Zach Wilson showed a lot of promise was in the second half of the Carolina Panthers game in week 1. But whenever you're grading a player's season, you have to take into consideration all of the data possible. So as much as I want to, hone in on that Titans game in the second half against the Panthers, we have to acknowledge that he was atrocious against the Patriots, Broncos, and the Falcons, with the turnovers, taking sacks, missing wide open guys, looking confused, bailing out of the pocket early. There was a lot that needed to be worked on, okay? Again, through the first 5 weeks, he threw for 4 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. 9 picks in 5 games is not good at all. And then he gets hurt. He was out until week 12, where the Jets ended up playing one of the worst teams in football, the Houston Texans, and that was the game that everybody was focusing in on, right? Zach Wilson's comeback, it's the return of Zach Wilson, it's going to be in a dome. We're playing against one of the worst teams in football, worst defenses, worst offenses in football. We're going to have a lot of opportunities here to put up points and to potentially win the game. Mike LaFleur's in the box. We're seeing what this offense has done with guys like Josh Johnson, Mike White, Joe Flacco. Elijah Moore is really starting to come onto the scene. Everybody was expecting, first 300 passing yard day for Zach Wilson. It wasn't the case, and quite frankly, he wasn't impressive at all. 145 passing yards, no touchdowns, with an interception. The Jets ended up winning the game, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. Did Zach Wilson do enough to hold down the fort? And the answer is yes, he did enough to get the job done. But I think what really rubbed people the wrong way was the fact that he spent so much time on the bench, learning behind guys like Mike White and Joe Flacco. Everything was starting to click for everything else. It was just really the quarterback position, and we didn't really see that. And again, the strength of the competition that we were playing against, we were all expecting more, right? We have to be honest, we were all expecting more from Wilson in that game. But the following week 13 against the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know if it was the black uniforms or what happened, but Zach Wilson in the first half looked really, really good. He was slicing the defense apart, okay? Finding the open guy, moving up and down the football field, getting in the end zone. It wasn't just, 2 heroic plays. No, these were long drives. In fact, the Jets actually started that game with 3 straight touchdowns, okay? And by the way, Philadelphia, not some bottom feeder of the NFL. I know a lot of people like to come down on that organization. Oh, Jalen Hurts is the answer, this and that. That is a playoff team. The Eagles are a playoff team, okay? So I look at what Zach Wilson did in that first half as a possible glimpse of what he can potentially do to all defenses in the future. Unfortunately, they fell apart in the second half with, 3 and outs, just not being able to click. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's a coaching issue here, but it really seems like the Jets have this problem with being like a Jekyll and Hyde. They either come out in the first half looking great and it just all falls apart in the second half, or vice versa. They're just coming out, just stumbling over themselves. It looks like a mess. But then in the second half, after adjustments are made, it looks like a sound unit. But moving on, he then hit a couple speed bumps with the Saints and the Dolphins, 2 solid defenses with great coaching staffs. And I felt like at this point in the season, the Jets were really starting to feel the effects of the injuries mount up, pile up. Yes, the Jets were banged up throughout the course of the season, but I felt like really at this section, was really where the Jets could have used that talent. And it's unfortunate. I mean, it's just a part of football. It sucks. I mean, you always want to roll your starting lineup out there. Hey, if you missed a guy here or there, understandable. But I felt like with the Jets, it was, a completely different offensive line. Corey Davis, no Corey Davis. Elijah Moore's kind of banged up. I felt like this back half of the season, it was just, we got to get through it. We got to get through it as healthy as possible. But after those two speed bumps, those two hiccups, if you will, he follows it up with two strong performances against one of the worst team in football, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'll go as far as to say that Bucs game was Zach Wilson's best game of his career, of his young career so far, because of the situation, because of who we were playing against. Tom Brady, defending Super Bowl champions, a playoff team this season, a loaded team. Okay, now I will say the Bucs were banged up as well. No Shaq Barrett, no Leonard Fournette, no Chris Godwin. Antonio Brown quit, so they were down some players for sure. But it doesn't change the fact that Zach Wilson was taking care of the football. He was moving the football up the field, getting in the end zone, and he gave the Jets offense a chance to be successful. And frankly, that game ended with that heroic Tom Brady walk-off. But after that game, I was not disappointed. I mean, of course, you want to win, especially late in the season like that against a team like that. But I remember doing the recap video, and I was pumped up because I felt like that was a true turning point in Zach Wilson's head. Like, I can do this against a good defense, against a good defensive coordinator in Todd Bowles. Is going back to the Jacksonville game here, it wasn't some crazy 350-yard day or anything like that, but I was impressed. He was, again, taking care of the football, finding the open guy, operating within the confines of the offense. I mean, he looked like a true West Coast QB, the Jimmy Garoppolos of the world, the Derek Carrs, the Kirk Cousins, back with Washington. Zach Wilson really looked like an NFL quarterback in both the Jags and the Bucs game. After that, of course, we had the Buffalo Bills, and that was just, that was just a train wreck. Offensively, historically one of the worst offensive performances ever, held way below the 100-yard marker of total yards on offense. So, I mean, it was tough. And by the way, just to, throw some context out there, I think Buffalo's a top 3 team in the NFL. I think they're, they're fundamentally sound. They have so much talent, both offensively, defensively. And their coaching staff is elite as well. I mean, it's no secret that Brian Daboll has so much head coaching interest. Leslie Frazier might be a head coach as well. Look at Chicago or something like that. But look, Buffalo, it was a tough game. But at that point, it's the extra game, right? The 18th week of the NFL season, rookie quarterback. I don't want to say we didn't have a chance because it's NFL. This is a professional team, and that should never be the expectation. This isn't college football where you're taking a D2 team and you're playing Alabama. No, you always have a chance to win. So I don't want to just throw that out as an excuse. But, it was going to be tough. It was going to be really, really tough. So when we look at Zach Wilson's season in its entirety, I think for me, I would give it a C to a C+. Now, I get that for some it might be a little high, for some it might be a little low, but for me, when I watched Zach Wilson this season, the biggest thing that I was looking for was growth. It was growth. I remember posting a video way back, in the start, before the start of the season, and the number one thing for me was development of Zach Wilson. Is he growing as an NFL quarterback? Is he coming into his own? Or is he getting worse with time? Think of a Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, the peak of his career was his rookie year. Now, of course, you can argue, hey, Freddie Kitchens was horrible, Hugh Jackson was horrible, now he's on to his third coach, Kevin Stefanski. And that offense is a little limited, of course, but, I didn't want to see Zach Wilson taking steps backwards. Week 1, he looks good. Week 2, he looks great. Week 3, he looks even better. And week 4, he has the best game of his career. And then from that point on, everything takes a nosedive. It takes a turn for the worst. And we're left at the end of the season scratching our heads saying, hey, did we make the right decision? I think right now, based off of how Zach Wilson progressed throughout the season, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good understanding that the front office, the coaching staff will do more things this offseason to load this team up. I'm hoping, I mean, definitely we have to figure out the defense. That's just an abomination. But offensively, I think Zach Wilson needs a little bit more help on the offensive side of the football. I think we need to get at least one more wide receiver, and we have to get a couple more backs in there as well. Looking at the the contract situations for a couple guys, and then the offensive line, we have to fix certain positions for the long haul. Right guard, I don't want to keep doing these one-year stopgap types of things. And then center, Connor McGovern, I know the jury is still out. He definitely looked, or has looked, a lot better towards the latter half of the season, but he's being paid as he is one of the highest paid centers in the NFL. We need consistent production from him. So understanding that this front office will do more for this Jets team and Zach Wilson's second year in the offense, I'm liking the overall potential of this offense moving forward. So for me, it's a C to a C+. Was it the best? No, obviously not. I mean, by the numbers, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, arguably the worst. But I think for me personally, like when I'm looking at Wilson from an individual standpoint, the highest thing on my list was growth throughout the season, and I did see that. So a C to a C+ for me. Let me know your grade down below in the comment section. Really excited to see where you stand on it, because I feel like there will be some higher grades, like a B+ and stuff like that, and there will be some low grades, F, D-, stuff like that as well. So should be interesting to see where everybody stands. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.